All right, Lightseekers, we have semi-final action here at our PAX South event. Today we've got our constructed deck tournament going on. We're going here into our semi-final game, as I said. I'm the Rev.
I'm Jacob. Here we've got, on the left, we have N. Hogan playing Dolo the Mighty, a Mountain Order deck. This is his first weekend playing Lightseekers, brand new, he's made it all the way to the semifinals, and he's coming up against a real veteran of the game on the right, Dratilis, playing his Trianu deck that served him quite well at PAX Unplugged. I heard there's been a few tweaks, and they seem to be doing well for him, as he's made it to the top 4 again as well today.
He's got a few surprises.
I think we're heading straight over to the game now, so we should see things getting underway. It looks like N. Hogan is taking the first turn.
All right, we'll see what he uses that Dolo.
Both players are using the life counter app here.
Which is
activating Dolo the Mighty, going down to 29 for N. Hogan.
Again, the player app is a good function.
Yep.
It's another function they can use it to enter their scores and everything on their games. It's, it's one of the many things that Lightseekers has to offer.
Actually, live updates on the website, so you can be looking at the results for this event right now, and you can see their health being tracked live on that.
Really exciting.
Yep.
One of the many toys that PlayDusion is coming out, backing up this great game.
Yep. There's a Pollen Weaver from Dratilis, very common card that he likes to use.
I believe strong defensive mode.
Yep. Just get some health trackers there so we can sort of keep track of what's going on for us. So Dratilis is down to 30 at the moment, and his opponent's back up to 32 after a Trianu activation.
Now, Pollen Weaver is an amazing card in this deck. Pollen Weaver is going to, well...
It's disappeared for a second, they're just having a quick check of that.
Yeah, so Pollen reduces 2 points of damage as long as your opponent is at higher health. And conveniently with Trianu, it's pretty easy to keep your opponent there.
Yeah, it is important to know that Pollen Weaver is unique, so only the first one you have in play will give you any benefit. But it's a pretty big benefit, so I think it'll be fine.
Very strong synergy between those that hero and that card.
All right. We're going to see a Dolo the Mighty activation, or just a draw. Yep.
All right.
Spirit Channeler there, another really strong synergy card with Trianu. So whenever Dratilis' opponent heals, Dratilis also gets 2 points of healing. And Trianu, once again, lets you heal your opponent for cards, so you can keep retriggering the Spirit Channeler. So life total now is 33 for N. Hogan and 32 for Dratilis.
It is an interesting dance that Dratilis has to do here, but of course if he gets his health either higher or at the same, he is vulnerable to damage. But of course when you're sitting at 35, you're not too worried about it right out of the game.
So there's the Dolo the Mighty activation from N. Hogan, dropping back down in life.
Once again we see Dolo taking advantage of Trianu's heal.
Yep.
We've seen a couple times in the tournament this weekend.
And there's a Prism Cannon coming down. All right,
once again, Prism Cannon, the mighty Prism Cannon, going to tick for 8 on its 4th corner.
Trianu activation puts both players square on 34.
Okay, so that will negate any protection from the Pollen Weaver. Like I said, I don't think Dratilis is too worried about it at this point.
Yep.
Okay, we begin. There's our rotation. Our buff phase.
There's the Dolo the Mighty. So this is the thing, we've seen this time and time again, like this Dolo v Trianu, you know, 2 heroes, very strong draw-oriented abilities. Typically, we've seen that the Dolo decks have been doing all right against that, because they can cash the healing in from Trianu for free draws themselves. But obviously, we've got this Spirit Channeler Pollen Weaver thing going on for Dratilis.
All right, both players capped at health.
Yep. I imagine that won't last very long.
Probably not. Pretty interesting here. So, N. Hogan he's got his buff that he's got down. He's going to be doing damage, but it also reduces healing of his opponent at the same time. So
yeah,
curious to see how that very effective against, or can be very effective against the nature deck. We'll see how it plays out here with that one.
Alrighty.
All right, looks like Dratilis just taking this draw. We're going to go into N. Hogan's buff phase, rotating both buffs.
1 point of damage from the Magma Worm. Now the Pollen Weaver's turned on, so we're going to see some damage prevention.
So again, that's just a good way of helping Trianu just stay with your opponent, just floating right around their same life totals.
Alrighty, and we've got what's N. Hogan. N. Hogan looks like he's going to make a play instead of just drawing cards. So both players have a giant grip at this point in the game.
There we go. It's a relic.
An Everrock relic. Yep, so he puts a combo attack, or any combo card back into his deck for the Everrock relic to do 6 damage.
Not sure what the actual combo is.
Which only does 4 because of the Pollen Weaver, dropping Dratilis to 30. Alrighty.
It's again, first bit of work out of that Pollen Weaver.
Alrighty.
I've seen Dratilis with this play. He makes that Pollen Weaver put in a lot of work, and he does it very well.
Yeah. Dratilis won the Saturday constructed tournament at PAX Unplugged with a very similar Triano deck. Slightly different orders, because he does run a few off-order cards in his deck. I'm pretty sure we've seen a couple of tech cards peeking there in his hand.
All right, exterior defender.
He's going to cancel the next attack that Dratilis plays. Not that his deck has very many of those. And we've got a Colossi Artifact. It's going to cap any incoming damage to Dratilis to 4.
From action cards.
From action cards,
So
like this Prism Cannon,
Like
for
this
example.
Prism Cannon. So it's a very effective card, helping keep the damage flow at you limited.
Yep. So there's 4 damage now coming in from the Prism Cannon. 2 damage completely prevented by the Pollen Weaver, and Exterior Defender does not rotate.
All right. And Hogan probably seen some new cards.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
imagining at this point.
Only a mere 2 days into his Lightseekers career here, but a very bright start, I would say.
Oh yeah, I mean he's definitely a good player. He definitely knows how to use his cards. So I think as
There's
far
a
as his
Dolo the Mighty
playability,
activation.
that's not in question. It's just a matter of experience with new cards. So I think he's the type of player that either way, no matter what happens, he's gonna learn, he's gonna adapt, he's gonna grow and get better.
Sort of like Skynet.
Sort of like Skynet.
Cool.
So
So if we leave N. Hogan alone with the game long enough, we're all in trouble.
he will destroy mankind. That's
Okay.
correct. Yeah, all of humanity will be gone. And only Lightseekers will remain.
Yeah.
All right, contemplating his cards here. We might be at that point of the day where the commentators start to get a little loopy. Okay, Colossi Ritual Sight down.
Yep. So as we've seen before earlier in this tournament, that's going to buff damage and reduce incoming damage.
Of course, Dratilis still has that Colossi artifact on there, so if
All right.
Van Hogan chooses to use action cards to increase that damage, it's still going to be capped
Yep.
by that artifact.
It's important to note that the Colossi Artifact is after the Pollen Weaver in the buff order. So the Pollen Weaver is going to reduce damage first, then the Colossi Artifact is going to cap it. If it was the other way around, it'd be capped at 4 and then reduced further by the Weaver. But there's a Monster Rich Defender, so that's going to work in a very similar way to what I just described.
So basically, his damage filters through, getting whatever sneaks past that Pollen Weaver
Yep.
is going to be capped to 4, and then further reduced by 3.
Yep. Just pointing it, being pointed out there by the official, I believe.
So very, very strong damage reduction sitting on the table on the side of Dratilis.
Yep.
In
Seeing a Dolo the
anticipation
Mighty
of that,
activation.
Yep, right into that Colossi Ritual Site. So once again, Colossi Ritual Site preventing the damage from Dolo.
Yep. So right now, I don't think there's going to be a lot of ways to do a large chunk of damage to Dratilis here.
Yeah, so definitely Dratilis playing very well into that Colossi Ritual Site, anticipating.
All right. Just trying to consider sort of where he wants to be. I believe did he just Dolo?
He did Dolo.
Okay. So he gets to not take any damage
no
off that
damage
because of
from
the
the
ritual site.
Correct.
Just getting picked up there by the official.
And
A sneaky crew.
pig. Sorry, Ninja Pig. I should probably pronounce that by its proper name. Yes, it is a sneaky creeble, once again avoiding all damage reduction, or prevention, I should say, not reduction.
Yep. But it does get past the. We're about to have a quick judge question on this, but it is affected by the Colossi ritual site still.
Yes.
The Colossi artifact. Is this still captain? Yes, captain full. The artifact affects it.
So definitely. So that thing is going to sneak past anything the Mossridge could do, but it's going to be capped at 4. It's going to go straight through, and that should be a net result of 4 damage total damage because the Colossi Ritual Site is making the Sneaky Creeble hit for 7. However, it's being filtered through. It's going to go through that artifact, filter down to 4, but then it's going to sneak past the Mossridge Defender and still deliver that full, the 4 damage. So.
Indeed, it is. Dratilis has got quite a large grip of cards there. I'm not seeing I do see a tech item there, so he can start playing out his tech cards if he chooses. Oh, there's the tech item, the Forge Wallet. So as long as Dratilis is on less than 15 life, he gets an extra point of damage prevention. His deck is all about reducing damage and healing and holding on in the game. And he's also chucked down a Hungry Behemoth, yeah. And that's going to be a sort of a repeatable source of damage and allow him to start chipping back away at his opponent.
So it's got 4 clunky corners on it.
Yep.
When you can use it to either hit your opponent or to heal yourself. When you use a heal, it causes it to rotate.
And when you attack, it just stays still.
So the ideal is to rotate through that till it's on its final corner. Each corner gets a little bit bigger as it goes through it. Or at least the final corners are definitely the larger corners.
That is definitely correct.
I believe it's 5 points setting damage on its last corner.
Yeah, that is correct.
However, it is an attack ability, so that exterior defender will prevent at least one defense into that. Oh,
There's a
coming in with the
Crystal
removal.
Leech, getting rid of the Pollen Weaver and the Hungry Behemoth. Probably very good choices, very safe choices. Those are two of the better cards in
See
Dratilis'
what
deck.
Dratilis does. He has a lot of a very strong ability to bring cards back out of his discard pile. So
Yeah, he
I'm
definitely
curious
has
to see
the Root Singer.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see if he does that now or if he just continues to build up his defense.
I do see another Pollen Weaver in his hand, so I imagine he'll just play out another one from there, since it is unique. No real point in rebuying one.
Yep. Weighing his choices. One thing about watching him play is he's always very careful, very wise in the cards that he's choosing to use and when to play them.
Yep. There's an Umbron Informant.
Informant.
So he's going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 extra cards off that. It's a pretty good exchange.
That's a good deal.
And there's
Alright,
that
there's
Pollen
the
Weaver
Pollen
back in play.
And now in the order that you were talking about.
Yep. So now it's getting the full value out of that Colossal artifact.
There's currently no damage that's going to get through that.
Yep.
Well,
And there's an
other combos.
emergency systems, just stacking so much defense and so much healing. So next time N. Hogan attacks, it's going to trigger the emergency system and heal Dratilis for 7.
It says super tank.
Yeah.
All right, so what's he choosing to do here? All right, so N. Hogan is also going into a little defensive mode.
Yep.
He's doing some damage prevention with the Mountain Fort.
Yep. Mountain Fort's going to stop the Dole of the Mighty damage from creeping through. Dratilis is losing some of his defenses here. What else is Dratilis going to deploy? There's an Insect Swarm.
Insect Swarm, all
So
right.
every turn that Insect Swarm is going to ping away at N. Hogan for 1 point of damage.
And that's actually, I think at this point, I think he's looking to chew through that Mountain Fort.
It's a very, very good value way to get through that Mountain Fort.
Yeah, because that slows down N. Hogan's ability to draw cards, or at least to not take damage while he's drawing cards.
It certainly does.
Looking, both of them have a very large handful of cards.
Yep. All the choices in the world.
Again, that's what happens when you have both heroes that are very strong with their card draw.
All right, we got a Focus Chamber.
All right, Focus Chamber, excellent
It's
card.
gonna draw a card, and I believe it allows you to put a buff into play
Let's
from
buff
your
into
hand.
play, yeah. It's
And there's a little extra effect if your opponent combos, but not relevant at this point.
Basically 2 actions for 1. Very good use of that. We got a Stone Scribe on the table. So Stone Scribe,
Yep.
that will allow us. So anytime a card from this point goes into the discard pile, instead it'll go under that Stone Scribe. And when the Stone Scribe does expire, then those cards are going to shuffle back into the deck. So
That is definitely correct. It's
So-
a good way of getting extra value out of your cards. A little bit of extra mileage. All right,
Especially
what's
if
this
you're-
follow-up going to be? A Prism Cannon
Prism
again.
Cannon.
That's a solid, reliable source of damage.
weighing here, always pointing out that it's going to tick.
Yep, so the Insect Swarm gets blocked by the Mountain Fort. Getting quite good value, that Insect Swarm, so it's going to basically waste 2 of the points of damage reduction off of that Mountain Fort.
Kind of just slowly chisel your opponent down, right? It's
Yeah.
death by 1,000 cuts.
That is pretty much the best way to describe Dratilis' deck. Death by 1,000 bark cuts from that Triano leaves.
Lots of splinters, lots of
Yep.
slivers there. Stump Drift Shaman, Dratilis going in for some heal.
Yep. Not willing to wait on his emergency system to go off. He's taken healing matters into his own hands. All right.
Hogan Wayne, I don't think he has seen a deck quite like this yet in the tournament. So
No, this is
definitely new territory for us.
Certainly is. Scrying Crystal coming down, making Dratilis put all the combos in his hand back into his deck.
All right, looked like he had a pretty good chunk of them there. Let's see what he's got now. So he's showing, checking with the judge on them.
He's showing that he has no more. It's a bit easier to just show the official
Especially with
there.
that size of a hand, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right, so he's got
Yep,
2.
2 going back. Damage is going to be prevented by the
one-
Pollen Weaver.
The mighty one with nature, and I didn't see what the other one was.
All right, slowly revealing the hands here.
Okay, moving back up to 30.
Yep.
All right, so now we have In Hogan capped at 35, and Dratilis sitting at a comfortable 30. Once
Yep.
again, it is starting help.
And Scrying Crystal, they're getting caught by the Stone Scribe. Ready to scry again sometime.
It says, go ahead. Go ahead, bring those combos back. I'll just punish you for it again. So,
Alrighty. What's the next play here? And Hogan's going to drop down a Sneaky Creeble.
Creeble.
Sneaking through for 4 damage. Really good against that damage prevention.
And there, yep, catching it. It's going to go into the Stone Scribe. Good job.
Insect Swarm for 1 damage. Rotate the mountain forward, and then activating Triano to draw some cards.
Once again, his opponent is capped, so he can draw without really worrying about what he's doing.
Just redrawn the Regrowth that I believe he shuffled back with the Scrying Crystal.
Regrowth just likes to stay in his hand.
Yep.
Stone Scribe going to rotate, going into rotations here.
Getting one step closer to expiring and shuffling those cards back in.
So let's see how worried Jatalis is about that Prism Cannon, whether he is or not.
I don't think he would be too stressed. You know, Dratilis, he's a very sort of chill guy. He doesn't worry too much about these sort of effects.
Also sitting at pretty high health and has an amazing ability in that deck.
There goes the Mountain Fort, used on the last dollar. The last corner used on a Dolo activation.
Might as well use it instead of letting it go away to an Insect Swarm.
Certainly true. Currently on 28 there for Dratilis. So a bit of a discussion about what Dratilis' life total was. I think he bumped the counter there. On 27.
It's always kind of a tricky thing here. Once again, it's also the advantage going to have in this case. But all right, here we go. Thumbdrift Shaman's rotating.
Yep. Bit of healing there.
Bring Jatalis right back up to 31.
Yep.
Now 33. And Hogan's still sitting comfortably capped, or maybe uncomfortably capped.
I'm not sure. I think he's probably quite happy to not be dying.
That's always good, but it's very deceptive with the Triano player because they very happily keep you healthy until they start their drive, and then the next thing you know, you find yourself very low. So.
It's true. And that Prism Cannon's just gone off, and 5 of the damage has been prevented.
Once again, that strong damage prevention from Chalice's deck.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been definitely a great event here at PAX. PAX South has been a wonderful thing. We've been seeing lots of great players, lots of great play, both the Lightseekers, lots of other games. There's been some interesting cosplay that we've seen here at the tournament. Been very much enjoying hanging out with our fellow con attendees.
Certainly have.
Yeah. So.
Alrighty. Just waiting for the next play here from Ed Hogan. He's got quite a lot of cards, a lot of information to process, decisions to make.
All right, oh, it's a Wrath of the Mountain. He's coming down with a big hit.
Yep.
He's going to try to punch through all that healing and prevention.
Yep.
Jatalis starting which cards are going to come out of his hand.
And Hogan. Yep.
Or N. Hogan is showing his payment. Jatalis has already picked the 2 that he's going to put back.
Yep.
He knows what that card means.
And 7 damage coming in through there. Mountain there.
Like he covered him up.
Yep.
Like a purple.
That was a Grim Glider.
It was a Grim Glider.
Yeah.
It was. Purple item.
And there's that Wrath of the Mountain going underneath the Stone Scribe.
Oh, man.
Do you think Jatalis will think about removing that Stone Scribe? Are you worried about that going back into the deck?
I don't know. It depends. Yeah. You just rely on your defenses. Is he pretty confident of that, or does he worry about that?
Yeah. So there's that
Either
point of
way,
damage from the Insect Swarm.
Excellent timing on that to use it with the Stone Scribe and get that.
There's the Triano
just that
activation.
Huge hit back. Right.
So the important thing is that the Insect Swarm, Triano, Spirit Channel synergy play. So Spirit Channel heals you whenever they heal, and Triano heals your opponent. The Insect Swarm keeps your opponent off their maximum health so that you can keep getting Spirit Channeler triggers every turn.
No, that's an amazing set of cards right there.
So Jatilis sitting on 25 life there, just 10 points behind his opponent's 35.
Yeah, sitting very comfortably. Definitely has his defense game in place. I don't think N. Hogan has seen this much defense yet today, so he's definitely on a learning curve here, and he knows it.
Yeah. It's a very sort of like grindy matchup, or that's the way Jatilis would like it to play.
Yeah, that definitely plays into his favor. The longer the game goes on, the more advantage, the more his deck can build up, really do its thing. So,
alrighty. So N. Hogan's just resolved his Stone Scribe and shuffled a bunch of cards back in.
I think N. Hogan has also realized that, and he's trying to figure out how he can punch this up. Speed definitely is his favor, but currently Jatalis has slowed everything down into his favor.
So as an Umbran Informant, he's going to draw a bunch of cards here. 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 cards.
Wow.
That's a lot of value for a single Informant.
Yeah,
Umbran Informant is a very good card against the Triano card drawing strategy.
again, definitely, some players have talked about the fact that there is no hand size limit in this game.
Yeah.
A big concern, but there are so many ways you can punish your opponent for having a large hand size. That's one of the prime good examples of it.
Yeah, there are many Creebles that are angry about large hand sizes.
They
Creeble
can
Infiltrator, Creeble Jester, all enemies of large
I
hands.
guess Creebles just don't like big hands.
I guess so.
They're not a fan of the Rock. Sorry, Rock.
And there's a sneaky Creeble coming
Creeble,
through,
yeah.
triggering the emergency system and healing Drutalis up there.
All right.
A point of damage from the Insect Swarm. Drutalis back up to a healthy 28. He never seems to get particularly low, even after multiple Prism Cannons and a Wrath of the Mountain. He's sitting pretty.
He really does not like dipping down out of the green on his health bar.
He likes to match his order in color.
Yeah, he's all. I mean, you can see his shirt. He's very much.
Here we go. One with Nature, the classic Nature play here. It's One with Nature, very powerful card, isn't it, Scott?
Very, very powerful card. We saw that yesterday in the Seal tournament, just how much that card can wreck an opponent.
Yeah, increases all the power of your cards by 2. So every numerical value across Drutilis' cards is increased by 2.
Every bit of his damage prevention is going to be increased. Every bit of damage that begins to like that Insect Swarm is now ticking for 3.
Yeah. His Triano lets him draw 4 cards when he activates his ability.
So N. Hogan definitely looking for some removal at this point.
Yeah. Having a quick discussion about how One with Nature works there.
So I mean, Drutalis was hard enough to hit before. Now he's just nearly impossible to get any damage onto with that sitting on the table.
Just asking a few quick questions about how power works. It's a bit of a complicated thing if you're a newer player. Not too many cards affect it.
Definitely a slightly different concept coming into it.
Yeah.
And then Hogan now realizing the full power of One with Nature and what it does.
Yep. Probably thinking to himself, maybe I could get
And
into this
there
One with
goes.
Nature action.
There it goes.
So there's another Crystal Leech.
He says it does what? No, I can't allow that.
Yep.
Definitely a excellent choice of removal.
Yep, sniping away another Pollen Weaver. Alrighty.
So once again, Drutalis missing the Pollen Weaver, but
What's very important to note is Drutalis has the ability in his deck to get One with Nature out 3 times in a game. And most decks tend to play 3 buff removal cards. So against Drutalis, it's very important to keep your 3 buff removal cards to deal with
the major threats, yeah. And again, and
To deal
Hogan
with
here
One with
coming
Nature.
into this may not realize all the threats that are there. He's certainly starting to see them, but he's not fully aware yet of all those.
There's another Pollen Weaver,
Yeah.
keeping his defenses up.
So you can be guaranteed future games here that N. Hogan's going to be watching very carefully for that One with Nature.
Definitely true. He only has 1 Crystal Leech left at the moment, so.
Alright, so very defensive board on both sides right now. Again, that exterior set defender not seeing too much action.
Not many attack cards in Drutilis' deck at all.
Not a whole lot. When he finally gets into his damage stage, we'll see a little bit of it, but we'll see how much that exterior defender.
It is keeping his Reckless Spirits from being played, so he can't play any of his buff removal while the exterior defender is there.
Yeah, green does have buff removal, but not the strongest buff removal color.
Yeah.
of the game.
Ooh, the Prism Cannon
Mark
MK2.
II.
So it's like a regular Prism Cannon and another regular Prism Cannon got together and became like double the Prism
The
Cannon.
Mondo Mega Prism Cannon Mark II.
Yeah. So it's 2 crystal elements to pay for the combo, which is 2 Prism Cannons, and it does double the damage, 16 damage on its final corner.
That's what's going on, yep. So we'll see, and he does have that protection, like you said. Drutalis is going to have a little bit of a difficult time removing that because of the exterior defender.
Alrighty. Having a quick read of a card here.
I think if you're Drutalis, are you afraid of that cannon at this point?
Probably not. Drutilis really, he isn't scared of anything. The guy's fearless.
He's pretty fearless. Oh boy.
So there's a Root Singer,
Yeah.
bringing back an Emergency Systems and a Monstrous Defender and laying down the Defender.
So again, setting up that really strong defensive wall that he has. Anticipating, I'm assuming, that Prism Cannon Mark II coming along.
Yeah. I mean, I believe the cannon's going to fire just before the Monstrous Defender is relevant. But, Charles seems to have rushed that down, not thinking about where the rotations are going to hit.
It is personally one of the bigger challenges I have in this game. My friends know that I have, for whatever reason, difficulty counting to 3.
Yes, it's a very tough number.
It's difficult if you're calculating buff rotations.
You should probably never throw a Holy Hand Grenade. It's a very specific number that you require for that.
I will never be successful at that. It's sad.
Yep.
It was my one goal in life, too.
Okay.
Shattered. All right, let's see where we are here. As I said, there's lots of things to be distracted by here at the tournament.
Alrighty.
Okay.
So a little bit of damage there from the insect swarm.
Coming right back up.
Yep.
Heal and a draw.
There's the Triano activation.
All right, we've got a behemoth back on the table. So
Yep,
it looks like
there's that.
Vitalis is going to start his damage push.
Yeah, certainly seems like it. I mean, he doesn't really need to draw many more cards, so he probably won't be using Triano's ability a lot. His deck looks like it has like literally a couple of cards left in it.
It's a good opportunity to talk about, again, what happens if you deck out in this game. You do not lose once you're out of cards to draw. As long as you have a card that you can play on your turn, then you play, or you're able to remove one of your buffs from play on your turn, you are still in the game.
That is definitely correct. So only once you're out of all buffs in play, all cards in hand, all cards in deck, then you're out.
Essentially, as long as you can't do anything, you're done. So.
That is correct, yes.
All right, back when we're on the table. Now, while that's not going to do much damage with that current setup, we're going to reduce
We're just
Vitalis'
healing.
healing a little
Yeah.
bit.
Want to put it down for the insect swarm coming in?
Is he activating? Vitalis, interesting.
Because it's an attack ability from the
It is an
behemoth.
attack ability, yeah,
Manages to knock out the exterior defender.
Explaining the way that works, that's going to open the way for the removal.
And the Reckless Spirit comes in, swooping in to remove the Prism Cannon Mark II, and dealing a little bit of damage on the side as well. Not irrelevant, not irrelevant.
Definitely getting rid of that heavy puncher. I was kind of wondering if you would use that to heal to advance the behemoth, or...
No, definitely using it to push through the defender is a great call, because that way you don't have to have a card cancel, it's just a single action.
Yeah, absolutely great usage of that.
Yep.
All right.
Interesting to note, the Pollen Weaver is currently turned off, because N. Hogan has less life than Dratilis.
So again, that switchback of its ability, depending on where you are with health. Triano player, you have to be very careful when you're playing Triano, at least in this kind of game. Very conscientious of where his health is in relation to his opponents.
Alrighty. And Hogan laying down.
there's
There's
the
that Wrath of the
Wrath of the
Mountain
Mountain.
back again, thanks to the Stone Scribe.
He's just going to keep punching as hard as he can.
Yep. And so of that, 10 damage is going to make its way through, knocking Dratilis down to 22.
All right. That's a good solid hit. Let's see what...
Certainly is.
Also losing 2 cards from hand again. Looks like a Stump Drift and something else going away there.
Looks like another behemoth.
Yep.
Indeed it is.
Yeah. Because of the way the behemoth works, Chalice really only needs 1 on the table. Since you can't activate 2 abilities.
Should be
per
on
turn.
22 there. I think he filled that. There we go.
There we go.
Managed to catch on to that.
So yeah, as long as he has 1 in play, he's able to activate it and use it. 2 on the table is
Kind of useless. Yeah.
kind of useless, yeah.
1 damage from the insect swarm, just consistently poking away. Very innocuous.
That is one of those cards that overthrow. Oh, he's bringing some stuff back out of the
Life
clearing hand.
Imbues.
Yeah,
This is a
Life Imbues.
cross-order combo card. And so with cross-order combo cards, they require 2 elements, but those elements can be any element from that order. So you could use any nature card and any tech card to pay for Life Imbue. And Life Imbue comes with a chunk of
Very
healing,
strong. One with
and it
nature,
brings
there it
back
is.
a buff. And so we're seeing 1 with nature return to the field. I believe you also get 8 healing off that one. It's going to be back to... Wait, maybe it's not quite 8 healing. 4 healing? Yeah, that sounds right. 5 healing.
Yeah,
Back
one
to
with nature,
26.
again, very strong. Definitely Dratilis' like punch card, per se. Not like time card, but punchy card, yeah. Just giving him all that extra power that he needs to put everything just over the top.
Yeah.
Alright. And Hogan's certainly not happy to see that 1 with nature come back.
Yeah, he's thinking to himself, how do I deal with this? Remember though that he should have a Crystal Leech left in his deck if he's running the full set.
He said once again, just emphasizing the importance of removal in this
Dolo
game.
the Mighty activation. Hasn't seen one of those in a few turns. Down to 27 life for N. Hogan.
Pretty sure he seems to, he's digging, I'm assuming, for removal at this point.
Yeah. Not sure if he's found it or not. He's just going to draw a 3rd card. He's definitely digging to try and find that last room card.
Oh, it's
So that's Santoshi Blacksmith. Now this one's an interesting one. So he gets to grab an item out of his deck and put it into play. And because
That's a good
Blacksmith
glider.
gives an extra action, 1 with nature is going to increase that to 3 extra actions.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Just-
Dratalis has
Oh, man.
4 actions left this turn. 5 actions left this turn, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 4 actions left. I can count.
Very
Thanks,
silly
Scott.
amount.
You're rubbing off on me.
Hey, 4's way higher than 3. You got to cut me some slack.
Yeah. Difficult to keep up with that one. So we've got a Grim Glider in play now.
So he is carrying 2 points of items.
Yep.
Again, heroes are capped at 2 points of items.
2 hands, right?
2 hands. Yep.
Alrighty. Grim Glider is an interesting one. At the beginning of each of Dratalis' turns, he's going to do a point of damage if he controls 4 or more buffs. It's like a sort of an insect swarm item.
So he's got double, and of course
There's
that
a
will
Root
also
Singer.
be increased by the One with Nature.
Yep, so bringing back 4 cards instead of the regular 2. And you see that One with Nature, if it gets to sit there, it does an incredibly large amount of work. 4 damage coming off of the Hungry Behemoth.
And once again, and Hogan learning that lesson.
There's a Moss
I
Surge
think he's already
Defender
learned
coming
that
down.
lesson, but he's not happy to I can't speech now. He is being taught the lesson again and not happy to be learning it all over again.
Yep.
He already knows. All right. So Dratalis' deck now in full swing. Pretty much everything he could possibly want on the table, he has on the table.
Alrighty.
So if you're in N. Hogan's shoes at this point, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to go for here?
I don't know. I don't see a way that N. Hogan can bring this game back at this point. Like Dratilis has you know, the wheels of Dratilis' decks, they turn slowly, but once they're moving, they are incredibly hard to stop.
Very, very heavy, yeah.
He just sort of rolls over his opponents.
The more you got into late game, and we are definitely in late game here. I'm just looking at the size of those decks.
Very few cards left. So Monster Defender is preventing a bunch of damage. There's Crystal Leech coming down.
All right. Definitely the One
A
with
turn to
Nature.
late. A turn to late. Insect Swarm and One with Nature are gone, but we know that there's a regrowth
There is
in
a
Dratalis'
regrowth,
hand.
yep.
So next turn we're going to see probably both those buffs just jumping straight back into play.
It's got to be very disheartening if you're in Hogan. Sorry, in Hogan.
It is tough to be on the receiving end of this,
I
this
mean,
machine.
you made the right call. You got to clean those out, but they are going to probably come back and haunt you again.
There's a Lava Bouncer coming in for 2 damage.
All right, starting to hit that hand.
What 2 cards is Dratilis going to have to put back into his deck?
I wonder what he called here.
He called buff, so an
Buffs.
emergency system and a
Something.
Stump Drift Shaman are both going
Was
back
that
into the
Stump
deck.
Drift? Okay, I
No
didn't see
damage makes it through the damage prevention, so and Hogan's still at 20, Dratalis at 26.
So I have to imagine he's probably going to regrowth and then start his damage drive, I think, at this point. Would
Yep.
be my guess.
I mean, he does have a Vine Lash in hand, so he might just want to deploy it and
Yeah.
finish off the game now that he knows his opponent's out of buff removal.
Yeah, he's Dratalis. If he was sweating before, which he wasn't, he's definitely not now.
Triano activation there. Oh, so now he's got the regrowth back in
That was a
hand.
really great sentence I just made right there.
I
I'm proud
didn't.
of that one.
I actually just tuned you out. I'm very sorry. Straight up was not listening. I'm trying to concentrate on some high level Lightseekers right now. There's a Stump Drift Shaman coming in for some healing. After a Triano activation, I believe. So Magma Worm goes. There was no healing from the Stump Drift, so they stayed at 26 because of the Magma Worm prevented the
Reducing it,
healing.
yep.
But 23 for N. Hogan at the moment because of the Dratilis Triano activation. There's an Everrock Relic. Shuffling back in a combo.
So combo there, all right.
Yep. And of that, the damage is it's gonna prevent 2 of it. So down to 22 for Dratilis.
All right. So now that monster's turns, let's see what happens next here. So again, N. Hogan, new player coming in here, facing a very tough deck in the
Yep.
hands of an experienced player.
It's important to note this is still the first game of this best 2 out of 3
It's a
match.
very, very tough spot for him to be in. So
I would not be surprised if this round
some healing.
hits the time limit, and we have to go into sudden death.
yeah, so we'll see. So it's a good chance. I want to review again what happens in a sudden death situation.
Yeah. So when sudden death is called, each player gets 3 turns, and at the end of those 3 turns, whoever has the highest life total wins. If they're both tied on the life total, they keep playing until the first life total change, at which point the highest life total wins.
There we go. All right, so we'll see if we get there and what happens at this point. Okay. Dratalis taking some draw.
Enchanted Soil getting some healing there for N. Hogan, back up to 27, retaking the lead against Dratilis' 24.
All right.
Sorry, 26. Yep.
All right, he's contemplating card. What's he's thinking? Reading the cards again. And he's realizing, yeah, that wall that Dratilis has set up is just so strong.
It is quite powerful.
I mean, that makes the Great Wall of China look like a piece of paper.
It certainly
That
does.
thing is just That might be my second favorite sentence today. All right, so he's pushing the heel with the Boulder Feast. All right. So now Anna Hogan sitting at 33. Rotella sitting at 28.
Yep. All right, so here's a buff rotation. Last bit of healing from that Stump Drift Shaman. And the Grim Glider poking in for one. Up to 32 for Dratilis there.
So we'll have to see if we do. Got to see a regrowth here. I can't imagine him not wanting to bring that. Oh, let's go with the draw.
There's a Mimicking Horror in hand now. And that combos very well with the Vine Lash that we saw earlier for a big 28-point swing.
So Vine Lash is a combo buff that's going to rotate and do 14 points of damage on its rotation. Mimicking Horror is a dread card that will repeat basically any buff. It'll trigger its corner again.
Yeah, any one buff.
Any one buff. So it's going to be getting 28 damage out of that card potentially. Massive amount of damage from 2 cards.
Okay. So the players at this point have they've only got about just under 15 minutes left in the round, and game 1 doesn't seem like it's about to end.
Game 1.
I have to put all these combos back again from this Scrying Crystal.
Drop them all back in there. It's interesting. Like again, Dratilis far superior. Oh, here we go. Is that going to be what's he doing?
Dratilis is just laying out his hand so he can display that there are no combos left. All of them are going in.
All right, so this has got to be. And Hogan doing some serious mathing, looking at the reduction again, seeing what those cards do to him. Looks like they're discussing some numbers here.
The Hungry Behemoth putting some fear in them.
I would be afraid of that Hungry Behemoth without question. All right, so he's Umbron Thieving for 4 damage. Well, just pushing for damage and not getting healing out of it. I guess he's not too worried about the healing benefit at this point. He knows Dratilis is keeping him healed up until he starts his drive.
Certainly is.
Dratilis drawing more cards. Those decks are getting very, very thin indeed. Looks like he drew another Hungry Behemoth there. Again, lots of really innovative, strong play here at PAX. It's been really fun seeing the different constructed decks come in from new players and new people.
One of the big things that's been exciting to see is like a lot of new players tend towards these mono order decks, but some of the experienced players like Dratilis and Bova visiting back again after previous PAX events with their crazy cross order decks. They really show sort of like the spread of things that you can do with this game.
And really, just diving in. I've always been like it's tricky because you do have to get those items out into play to be able to do it, but they just fearlessly charge into them, get them into play, get their decks going and doing their thing.
I mean, very easy to get that with that Tantosian Blacksmith, and we probably just saw like one of the highest value Tantosian Blacksmiths of all time.
Yeah, that was insane. So once again, demonstrating both the power of the Blacksmith and the one with nature.
Yep, two powerful cards, even more powerful when used together.
Yes. All right, so we're going into defensive mode with Crystal Veins here.
Certainly are.
It's going to go with prevents 4 points of damage.
Yep, for 4 turns.
For 4 turns.
But Dratilis still clutching quite a lot of removal.
Yes, he does have that in his hand. No.
So I wouldn't be surprised to just see this sort of disappear.
All right, looks like he is.
No Grim Glider trigger this turn.
No.
Not that it would matter because of the Crystal Skin, but back under 4 buffs again.
It looks like he wants to rotate that Behemoth.
Certainly does.
You know, you have to get that thing cocked and loaded and ready to fire in order to really get the max amount of damage out of it. So it does take a couple turns.
Yeah, you gotta. So it's a Hungry Behemoth, right? So when you're healing it, we're healing with it. You're stealing its food, right? And it gets angrier and angrier, and then it does more and more damage.
Is that the way that works?
I believe it is.
Yeah, well, is that the? We here at Play Fusion do not endorse any kind of cruelty to behemoths.
No, certainly not, because as we can see, they get quite angry.
Very, and hungry.
Yeah. Hangry Behemoth.
Hangry.
Alrighty. Seeing an Inferno here from Ed Hogan. He's getting down to the point where he has mostly combos left.
Oh.
And so that one's a big damaging one. 10 points of damage.
Damage as we can.
2 of it's getting prevented by the Pollen Weaver. So 8 points of damage drops Dratilis down to 25. Now Dratilis has taken some big hits.
Serious hits. And
but he's still in the green.
Dropped out of the green, yeah.
Yeah, it's a place for Triano.
It's definitely in the
crazy.
forest. It's where he likes to be. All right, so again, Dratilis now sitting at 25.
Using the Behemoth, going back up to 27. Drawing the last card in his deck, which I believe was the regrowth, right at the very end.
So he has to start that drive. Of course, both players have. I want to take that back. Trotellus has a huge hand. He's got plenty of options he can do, and
Yeah.
he's really been burning through them. So we'll see what this comes
Yeah,
down to.
two combo turns in a row has definitely burned through a lot of resources. So here's a Crystal Bat, 1 point of damage, no healing. Probably not the highest value Crystal Bat in the game, but a Crystal Bat nonetheless. And a Rock Rager for 3. So unfortunately, you don't count as healing if you're on your max life, which I believe is a question that's now being asked. Sort of a rough way to learn that.
But it is prevented by the.
So 3 points of healing puts 4 points of healing puts Trotellus back up to 29. So close to his starting life total. And he's just waiting. He's biding his time. He's in no hurry to close things out. So a Rock Rager there just for the 1 point of damage, down to 28 there for Trotellus. I don't think Hogan has a way to win this game at this point. Trotellus has just healed too much. Look, that is a look there of, I can't believe what's happening.
I can't believe how strong the defenses on this deck are. So in this case, because we are getting close to time, I believe.
Yeah, we are getting really close to time.
If we're going in one game, what's our
if the first game is still going when time is called, then that'll just be the end of the match. It'll be a 1-0 victory to one of the players. If they make it to game 2 before time is called, they will play out sudden death in game 2. If Hogan wins that and brings the game up to 1-1, assuming that he doesn't win this game, assuming this one goes Trotellus' way, then we will see a game 3 begin immediately in sudden death as well.
I have to wonder in some part of Trotellus' brain if he's not aware of that, because as strong as his deck is, its specialty is not explosive damage out of the game. So an overtime situation does not favor him.
It's true. So he might be looking to just close this game out 1-0. To be fair, Trotellus has played quite timely throughout this match. He hasn't spent too much time making decisions, so I can't fault him if that's the game plan he's gone with.
He's definitely not slow play. He might just be doing...
The Swamp Creeper is a solid play there. Allows him to refill his deck with cards from his discard pile. It's quite a cool card to get access to by splashing into Shadow with the Grim Glider.
Definitely.
Behemoth eating some things, doing 5 damage, dropping Hogan down to 28. And another Behemoth comes down. A bit of a security blanket there.
Yeah, I'm really wondering if that's part of Trotellus' plan. It's a smart strategy.
He has already used the animal element for that turn by activating the ability, so he has to swap that for a different card. So just another Pollen Weaver. Unique means that the second one's going to have no effect.
So it's just sitting there, just kind of looking pretty and waiting.
It's weaving pollen and it's waiting. It knows its time is coming. Eventually it'll be noticed.
If its brother is removed, it will jump in to fill the gap.
Or sister,
Or sister could be.
I don't know how Pollen Weaver feels.
I'm not really good with it, yeah. No offense to any tree people. I'm not really good at determining gender. All right.
Alrighty, so there goes the Stumpdrift Shaman.
That's not something I ever thought I would think about going into this. All right.
Alrighty. So there goes the Hungry Behemoth, eaten for 5. 22 life now for Hogan. We are definitely drawing things to a close here.
Yeah, he's just going to get at that final corner and just going to start punching.
So there's a Blacksmith just being discarded for the extra action.
Extra actions.
Yep, because you do have to, when your deck is empty, you do have to play a card on that turn, otherwise you have to start discarding. Alright, there's a Stream of Tantos, paying for it with these 3 cards, clawing his way back into the game, slowly but surely.
Going to pull himself up for 6,
Kind of feel like it's maybe like lashing out in death throes at this point.
Pretty much.
So back up to 26, oh sorry, way more than that. 29 life for Hogan against 28 for Trotellus. How the tables have turned.
All right. That is again for Hogan very much a learning curve, I think, in this round.
It certainly is.
And Trotellus has been, of course, eyeing that top spot.
Yep. Narrowly missed out at the Sunday Championship.
So he's going to continue to push his drive for that today, for sure.
So there's a Vine Lash coming down, paid for with a different combo card, pay the full cost, and then redrawing it at the end of turn, because you draw a card when you combo. Passing turn back over. It's important to note that Hogan is on exactly 28, which is a Vine Lash mimicking horror, does exactly 28 damage.
Exactly what that's going to probably do.
Crystal Bat. Damn it, ruining everything.
Nicely done, Hogan. Just putting yourself right out of poking range.
Certainly correct.
Not
and then a Flame Bat.
Range, yeah.
5 damage, down to 20 for Trotellus.
Pushing as hard as he possibly can. Into
Vine Lash for 14.
All right, there's the 14.
Yep.
Definitely going to see he's got the Mimicking Aura on top of his hand.
And then 5 damage from Behemoth. And then a Mimicking Aura for another 14 damage.
Yeah,
and this game goes to Trotellus.
That's very good. Very explosive play on that final turn.
Certainly is.
All right. Hogan. And Hogan just kind of sitting amazed at what he just saw.
It's definitely true.
Out of Dratilis' deck.
Certainly not the sort of deck you expect to see.
Especially, he's been playing that red deck very well all day, very explosive, very punchy, and then just to run into that speed bump, speed mountain. That's not a mountain; it's nature.
It certainly is.
Getting all kinds of mixed.
So as we can see here over at the players, they are sideboarding before the beginning of the next game. Dratilis has some decisions to make here. As you can see, he's got a bunch of different combo cards in the sideboard, because in your sideboard you are only allowed combos and unaligned cards. Dratilis is making sort of some decisions here about what he needs to change to get that edge in the next game.
Yeah, I think he's gonna push probably for more damage at this point. Right?
So I'm sure that's correct. Yeah.
He's gonna want to get into that.
Probably taking out some of the less relevant cards. Maybe he's just sticking with what he's got. I think he's just gonna roll with this deck again.
All right, because it's got to be aware that we are definitely going to be going into end of the round.
Yep. And unfortunately, Triano's ability gets a lot less good in sudden death, because when your opponent's on a high life, then you lose.
Yeah. So you don't want to dig into your own life like you normally would.
At the same time, Dole of the Mighty ability also gets a lot worse than sudden death, because your life total goes down.
So we will see the way they choose to play this out. We might see a lot less hero activations on this round. We'll see how, starting with the Pollen Weaver, immediately goes into the defensive play.
The very, very solid play there.
Fighting the clock. It's going straight for the punch.
Inferno, big hit.
Right out of
It's going to be 8 points of damage. Dratilis down to 22. He's going to need to claw his way back up as quickly as he can. Things are really heating up here.
Definitely getting a little hot. You can feel it.
Yep.
A lot of pressure building here.
Using a Triano activation. Dratilis has no fear. He is definitely cavalier about those activations. And he has a second action still, I believe.
Curious what his play might be at this point, what he's digging for, what his strategy is in the long run here.
Yep, just drawing in a third card. Maybe he's going to go straight for the big Vine Lash. Unrun Informant to draw a bunch of cards here for N. Hogan. That's huge.
Yeah.
I believe he only had one card in hand just then, so that's going to be like 6 or 7 card draw.
That's a big hand swing that could make a big difference in this type of game, especially facing the time that we are right now.
Yeah, I was initially like sort of really sure Dratilis was just going to end the game around 1-0, but
he's just punching as hard as he can, which is
seems quite wise.
Going in as we get closer and closer to time.
Yep. All right, so Dratilis needs to get back up in life as quickly as he can. Yeah. Does he use the one with nature just to whack down a Vine Lash? Because 14 points of damage is going to bring things like quite close back together.
Big decision to make here.
Alrighty, there's a one with nature. Paying the combo there. He's decided that one with nature is going to be more relevant there. So let's hope his opponent doesn't have a Crystal Leech in that big fist of 7 or 8 cards.
And all out, yeah, that's the thing. Dratilis knows he's playing in, he's gambling, risking that one.
Because the only thing that threatens nature is
Leech.
leeches. It's a big threat to nature.
They're parasites. They can affect trees. Come on.
Alrighty. They are made of crystal, so very unnatural.
Down forward there, going in defensive mode. And Hogan breathing a little easier. Now he's got the life advantage and
the mountain fort up.
Table advantage right now.
Yeah.
But once again, time does favor Dratilis here, so Hogan still has pressure on him.
Monster Defender comes down, so a bit of protection for him as well. Free Dolo activation into the mountain fort.
Getting those cards drawn back down. Prism Cannon going down for the big punch.
Yep. This is a clear case of aggression.
Tantosian Blacks.
Free.
I have to wonder what he's going to pick with that.
He's going to get the Grim Glider, because in his hand he has Vine Lash and Mimicking Horror, and a 28-point swing could be just enough to win this game. Well, okay, never mind. It's a Forge Wall. I'm completely wrong.
So he's going to keep the heal. That will keep him...
There's the emergency system coming down.
Right.
Very wise, very wise.
There is a Mimicking Horror in hand there.
Certainly is. Another free Dolo activation. And Prism Cannon has to rotate, of course. Emergency system, very easy for N. Hogan to play around here. He just doesn't attack. And then the problem is solved.
I have to wonder, again, N. Hogan, he's a great player. He's been very great today, but just being new to the game, I'm not sure how familiar he is with overtime and what happens here. So what his...
there's a Stumper Shaman, 1 point of healing.
Strategy.
Not enough to turn things around completely. I can see a Colossi artifact hiding there in Dratilis' hand, ready to meet that Prism Cannon.
Yeah, definitely will come down before that if he has not found a better option that he prefers.
Certainly true. All right, we got a Prism Cannon Mark II.
So again, N. Hogan just going for the big swings, haymakers.
You know who's probably wishing for a Crystal Leech right now? Dratilis.
Dratilis. Yeah.
Definitely Dratilis. 2 points of healing there from the Stumpdrift Shaman.
All right, brings him to 22. And Hogan again, sitting comfortably at 35.
Yeah, quite a big health disparity right now.
Let's see the Behemoth in his hand. There's the Colossi Artifact.
There's that free
drawing.
activation. And Colossi Artifact, pass turn back. 4 damage makes it through. Back down to 18 for Dratilis.
Being filtered with that, 4 damage coming through. Again, it's important to note that Colossi Artifact is not going to prevent the damage from the Cannon Mark II.
Yeah, but Dratilis did pick up a Reckless Spirit just then, which he can definitely use to remove it.
I imagine we'll see that being played. And the Sneaky Creeble, Ninja Pig sneaking in there.
4 more damage. Triggers the emergency systems as far as I'm aware. I might want to make a call on that.
Nope, there it goes.
Back up to 17. Yep, there we go. Remembered it. And 4 from the Stumpdrift Shaman, back to 21.
I would have thought he would have been all over that first thing. I'd be, no.
Certainly agree. Activating free Trianu. Just sort of biding his time. I'm not sure exactly what he's looking for here. Like, he needs to get to a higher life total than his opponent, and he is definitely not at that yet.
Time was just called if you...
Okay, so we have just hit time.
Yep, so we're going to be beginning the first turn of turns.
So now life total is really, really critical.
Yep, so there's a Master Reach Defender. Bit more protection. This means the most damage that Dratilis can take from an action card right now is 1.
However, that cannon is still ticking, so I'm sure we'll see some removal here in a second. That's going to have to be one of his actions.
The absolute best possible play right now for Hogan would be to lay down an Exterior Defender. That would be game in his favor. Dratilis does not have enough different attack cards to get through the Exterior Defender and still play Reckless Spirit.
Dratilis' deck, it struggles in a sudden death over time.
It certainly does. They did catch him up last time at PAX Unplugged.
It's definitely a long end game type deck.
Certainly is. Alrighty, and the second action here for N. Hogan is...
And Hogan's feeling pretty comfortable in his position, but he
an
knows
Everrock
he's
Relic,
got to
which
play
is going to
carefully.
do 1 point of damage.
Yeah, filtered there. Power of that order. Once
Yep.
again, the importance of the buffs in
Yep.
the ordering.
Everything's left to right here. So 20 life now for Dratilis. Opponent's still on a full 35. Each player only has 2 turns remaining. So Dratilis needs to do something crazy this turn to get back in this game. I'm not sure what that's going to be.
I'm not sure what his plan is either. I'm very curious here. I imagine he's got something in hand, but I can't see his entire
Well, he
hand
does
right
have a
now.
Reckless Spirit, but that's not going to be enough damage to make a dent here. I think we might be seeing a game 3. Just thinking.
So in a game 3 situation, what else would happen?
Immediately begin in the 3 turns each of sudden death, and at the end of those 3 turns, whoever's on the highest life total wins. Dratilis does not look too happy about this position.
He does not look happy to be where he's at right now. He knows what needs to happen and struggling to make it that way.
Alrighty,
there's the
Reckless
removal.
Spirit, removing it. 1 point of damage, sneaks past the Mountain Fort. 34 life now left on N. Hogan.
Down to 1.
And looking for a card to play here. Might see an Insect Swarm just for a little bit of damage. Or checking the discard. Might be something to rebuy with a Root Singer.
You're sitting in Dratilis' shoes right now. What do you do?
I honestly, I don't know. I feel like I needed to do a bunch more damage earlier in the game, and I should have made that call before I should have used an earlier opportunity to remove the Prism Cannon instead of just drawing a card, probably.
So at this point, it's
Sometimes leaving things to the last minute comes back to bite you.
So it's just once again, it's just the criticalness of the effectiveness of when you play a card, making those decisions.
It's all about timing.
So there's some discussion. I think N. Hogan's probably trying to clarify some rules for his own mind.
I think he's just working out how many turns exactly are left.
Okay. Once again, here we are. This is our semifinals.
It's important to know whoever wins this goes through the semifinals, but the loser is still walking away with $250 in cash.
Not a bad day for getting to play some really fun games.
So the Root Singer there, returning a couple of cards to hand for Dratilis. Dratilis only has one turn left. So unless this opponent somehow loses a bunch of life miraculously, I'm not sure how well this is going to go.
See what he's got. And Hogan just has to hang on here.
Certainly does.
He knows it. He's looking for the most effective card in this situation. He's going to come out.
Scrying Crystal. That's a pretty good one. It's going to remove any potential combo that Dratilis could have used to dig his way out of this hole.
Yeah, it seems a safe call at this point in the turn, just to get rid of any potential thing that could hit you really hard or that could heal your opponent for a lot.
Yep, so that combo is going back into the deck.
It was a lifing view, wasn't it? I think.
I'm not sure exactly what that one was. I didn't quite catch it as it got shuffled back in there.
All right, so
It's Dratilis' last turn.
yeah.
Defense. Doesn't really make a difference. But important to note that we are going to be going to a game 3. Immediately in sudden death.
Pulling it up. Once again, this is a solid demonstration of the strength of a kind of the grindy, tanky deck, but also one of the risks of playing that type of deck in a tournament like this.
If only that first game had gone for a couple of minutes longer, this would have been an entirely different outcome. Cool.
Does have a strong defense sitting out there.
So that's the end of game 2.
It's gonna go, yep. So now they are
Going to
discussing,
straight to game 3.
explaining what needs to happen.
Yep.
Judge crew clearing them up, getting the players ready.
Yep.
Looks like we're resetting the table.
Certainly does look like that.
Players will have a moment to sideboard if they decide to.
They certainly do.
All right. So this time, you're Dratilis. You know the situation you're going into here.
Yep.
What do you want to try to sideboard in? You know that Egan Hogan is sitting very comfortably. He's got a lot of damage.
Yeah, I don't know that Dratilis has any cards that are relevant for sideboard. Maybe in the extra Colossus artifact I saw peeking out of the sideboard earlier. What he really wants is some unaligned damage cards, like a Frenzied Creeble here. Just quickly burn through your hand size, smack for 6. That would be a good card here.
Just to get some really fast damage on your opponent.
Yeah, certainly. I'm wondering if it's worth cutting perhaps the splash cards, the 3 shadow cards, and move them out, because there might be a ability to assist. I saw he had a couple of shadow cards stuck in his hand with no item there.
That could definitely slow you down.
Yep, it's going straight into the sideboard here. Bringing in, maybe even just some more healing. Like, you just have to get to 35. All right, and your opponent, if your opponent's not on 35 and you are, you're going to win that game.
Which, of course, presents, as we talked about before, presents the Dolo player and Hogan with a interesting choice.
Yeah.
Particularly depending on his opening draw. Probably not going to choose to activate, but if you don't get anything in your hand, then you need something, right? So you got to dig in a little bit.
It's important to note that if both players just do nothing and pass every single turn here, then Dolo will win because he starts with 1 more point of life.
That's correct.
It's very important.
That's correct.
I don't foresee that being the situation, but anything can happen here at PAX. It's a crazy place. Alrighty. Dratilis is going second here. Perhaps understanding the importance of that 5th card.
Wanted to get that extra. Yep.
Would you go first or second here if you were Dratilis?
I would go second.
I would
definitely go second.
I would go first.
You think?
Yeah, because Dratilis' deck is all about playing Colossus Artifacts, Monstrous Defenders, and Pollen Weavers. I want to deploy my defenses first before my opponent has a chance to hit me.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
So there's a
amazing.
Colossus Ritual site. That's a pretty good place to be. Good way to start. First turn each.
I would gamble a little bit. Oh, there we go. Yep, you're right.
Pollen Weaver,
Defense is
Colossus
first turn.
Artifact. So that's the exact first turn that I would want as Dratilis. So this whatever card he plays here can do 2 damage.
Colossi is such a great first turn play on that though, because of the extra damage that it's giving.
So Rock Rage is going to
And
do
preventing the
2 damage.
So it's going to increase his damage and protect him for a turn. So that Colossi, the Ritual Site's a great first turn play.
Yep, down to 28 for Dratilis. Staying high on life here. He has got a Behemoth in hand, so
Healing and damage.
yep. So Behemoth could come down here. Could be relevant. But other than that, Dratilis has a Behemoth and an Insect Swarm, and he can only deploy one of those cards because they're both animal.
So he's got an important choice to
There's
make. Here.
Behemoth.
He's going with the Behemoth.
And draw a card. And he finds Vine Lash, and he can't play it. He does not have the elements. That has to be a real feel bad, as they say.
Frustrating. There's
Yeah.
all the damage you need.
Alrighty.
So let's see what
So Hogan doesn't actually have to do anything here. He doesn't know it yet, but he's pretty safe.
Well, he is higher health currently. However, that behemoth.
I mean, the behemoth's only gonna poke for 2.
Oh, but it could heal.
Yeah. Then
that
he's
might be a viable strategy to heal up above Dolo.
well, I mean, Dratilis is on 28, so if he heals with behemoth, he'll go to 30, and Hogan wins on 31.
Oh, we're down to, that's right, we're down to
Yeah.
at 3 turns now. So
Oh my God.
he Doloed.
He doloed. He went full YOLO.
All right.
That's madness. That's absolute madness.
Well, let's see how much damage he can push through here.
Well, he can only get 2 at most, right? Mountain Fort. So, hang on. If Dratilis heals here, he wins the game on 30. And Hogan has taken an interesting line.
I think that might have been a matter of experience right there, or inexperience.
I certainly think it might have been.
Very, very costly.
So defensibility of, goes up to 30, and passes and draws a card. And that's going to be the game to Dratilis. Well played by both our players here in the semifinals.
Splendid turn. I think looks like he just realized that. Dratilis knowing he just dodged a bullet.
Quite an interesting end to that match.
Excellent play to both players.
Well done by both players.
Wow. Very intensive. All right. So there we go. All right, so that's our semifinals. We are going to be getting ready for our finals here.
Yep,
at
certainly
PAX South.
That was a very exciting semifinal match there. We'll see you again very soon.
All right, see you soon.